They teach about the five principles of influential or successful leaders. And they talk about profile. They talk about pitching. What's your profile? That's why I talk about LinkedIn, having a brand. Who are you, pitch. Who are you? People say, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you say? That's why I know that I bring clarity to big ideas.
You did stay long in positions that you took. You'd say 4 years, 5 years. That's a very now problem. What was that? And
honestly, I
yeah.
wish I hadn't. You see, in the old days, the way we were taught and the way we saw life, stability was very important. We're talking about before and now.
Yeah.
In fact, your CV, if you had jumped from jobs 3-4 years, people would say,
Suspicious.
because those days we thought going up, it was a ladder, like a staircase, step by step. That's the longevity, experience. Now it's about technical competence. It's about expertise. It's about diversity. Can you work with diverse industries, diverse people?
Hello there and welcome to Ripple by Ihrm. We are so excited to have you back on board for the year 2025. Welcome back to our conversations. In case you have missed our previous conversations, please feel free to visit our social media platforms at Ihrm Kenya across all platforms. So this year we have lined up wonderful conversations where you will get to learn, get to be motivated and challenged by some of our guest speakers. Today's conversation, you do not want to miss out. But before that, let us get a recap of the activities you can expect from Ihrm. All right, welcome back to the Expert Corner. Today we are joined by a wonderful lady who wears many hats, Madam Mary Mukindia, MBS. She's going to tell us what that is about. And we're going to enjoy this conversation as she tells us how to navigate the workplace, how to stand out, because she's a coach, and especially on personal branding. So we are very excited to have Mary Mukindia. Mary, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are so delighted to have you.
No, my pleasure.
Yeah, we are... this is not the first time you're interacting with Ihrm.
No, I love you guys.
Yeah.
You invited me to be one of your guest speakers when you were having the Transcend graduation, the second one. I think it was over. I had almost 200 ladies. It was just a pleasure to be with you. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you for honoring us with your time. Just before we get into the conversation, a brief introduction. Who is Mary? What are you passionate about? Yeah, and why people, and why are you so passionate about supporting people to be their best?
You know, when you invited me and some of the things you said you'd be asking me about and what I do, and I realized I had so many titles, they were coming to 8, I stopped. What I'm passionate about, which I didn't think I would ever be, was I just love to I bring clarity to big ideas. I love sharing knowledge. I love having people get an aha moment and maximize their potential. And growing up, I grew up in the 60s, very old person. And our father was really enamored by teachers. Everything was about being a teacher, and he wanted somebody to be a teacher. And we used to laugh because my father believed in teachers.
Was he a teacher himself?
No, he wasn't.
Wow,
he was East African Railways and Harbour's executive. And actually, I was born on a train, just as a matter of interest. I was born on one. I should get a lifetime pass. But we used to laugh because who wants to be a teacher? And the funny thing is, I've become a teacher. I love it. But we used to laugh because my father had believed in teaching. And I just actually have to accept the title. I love to teach. I love to train. I love to coach. I like to help people get clarity on their big ideas and maximize their potential. So that's really what I do. And that's what my passion is.
All right. I like clarifying big ideas because you'll tell us a little more about that. But before you go to this teaching job that your dad already told you were going to be a teacher, what else have you done, especially in the corporate space? What's your training over the years?
I actually began corporate life almost straight after university. I did Bachelor of Commerce. I didn't want to study anything after university, so I took the easiest course. I took marketing with some economics, and I joined ExxonMobil, and I worked there for about 17 years. So rose up very quickly. Again, my father's problem. It was
Yeah.
all about hard work. And I had this work ethic of honesty from my background. We all get values from how we grow up.
Yes. True.
And he was a very tough man, very man focused on hard work. So I went through the ranks very quickly, both here and in London. I worked for a short time as expatriate, came back, Mobile bought us out. So I've always had a corporate, kind of background. After I left there, I thought I'll start a company. It failed.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes, it failed after 17
We'll
years.
park that one. We'll come
Yeah,
back
so
to it.
I packed that one. And because I say I'm not a natural born entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And then we formed the Petroleum Institute, myself as founder member and a couple of colleagues around me. It was my idea. And I was the first general manager and have nurtured the people who have then taken over after that.
Yeah.
I did that for 4 years, appointed by the government then to head National Oil as a CEO, a turnaround CEO, which I loved. And that's the first place I actually understood people. Every career, when you look back, it teaches you something.
Yeah, true.
From Exxon, I learned about ethics, structure, clarity, systems. Very good trainer. In setting up Petroleum Institute, I really understood about anything is possible. What you need is the passion to bring people together, collaborate, and build anything you want.
Yeah.
But at National Oil, that's when I really understood the importance of people. And maybe that's how my journey with HR and people began, because I had, in Exxon, everybody is high level. You really recruit the best of the best. You pay well. You are given all the training you want. There's a structure, there's system, because it's a over 100 years old companies in America. It's a multinational. So everything looks easy. But when you go to an organization where
you have to set it up.
Absolutely. I really understood it's not about money. We had no money, we were broke. We didn't have a mandate. There's no law that says exactly what the National Oil Corporation should do.
Yeah.
So it came back to actually it's about the people. The people determines your success. And that's the first time I really understood about having a team and being on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
And then after that, I did that for 4 years. I didn't renew my contract. I always think in government.
You knew when to leave.
How
Lesson
did you
number
know?
3. Okay.
Lesson. Leave when you're at the top.
Yeah.
So I didn't renew my contract, though I was offered. I had indicated interest and I realized I couldn't do this again.
Yeah.
And I was invited to join the UN. So I applied and I joined the UNEP as an international staff. I did that for 5 years, responsible for Asia, Asia Pacific, and the Middle East.
Yeah.
And I really traveled a lot. I enjoyed the UN, going to places like Laos,
Wow.
Bangkok, South Korea, addressing this black girl, addressing conferences, Mongolia,
Wow.
going on to Jordan, places like that. So it was really fun. I did that for 5 years. And again, I realized I'm tired of being employed. I say I'm a good servant.
Yeah. But for a time.
For a time. So
Yeah.
I left in 2012.
Okay.
And since then, I've really been on my own, and I'm very surprised that I'm still surviving. But I didn't think I could survive without being employed. But
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
since 2012, I've been on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is interesting, an illustrious career and across the globe. You have said a few things that I want to follow up on. One, you said you didn't think you were an entrepreneur.
No.
And you're actually surprised that you survived on your own this long. Speak to that, and how do you build the confidence of moving from employment to doing your thing and to actually finding your purpose and all that? How have you navigated that?
It was almost like, it's almost like being forced to do it.
Yeah.
I think I was traumatized by setting up the company. It was a small oil company that I would go lease people's properties, give them my brand, train them, buy product from multinationals and sell through there. And the way I lost the company because my 2 stations were taken over, it was called SAPED, kind of traumatized me because had a lot of debt that I had to pay for, a couple of years through my salary, being general manager of the Petroleum Institute of East Africa. I just didn't think I could ever hack it being
an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And maybe honestly, I don't regard myself an entrepreneur. I regarded myself more of a consultant. But when you say it, maybe I am an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I just got so tired of reporting to people and the goalposts keep changing. You do a good job, then somebody is brought in to do the work you were doing. Then you're given another difficult area, because I've always been a kind of a change person.
Yeah.
I go in and turn around things, change things, build things. So I thought, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I really was wondering what to do, but I was invited to, because I gave up all my boards except one that I was doing for charity to do with the Red Cross, which
Yeah.
was the Boma Hotels, which is, a state organization, and it's a non-profit. So I was invited to be on a board. So I went on a board and I became chairman within a month, and that gave me some little income. But I was really thinking, what do I do? I need to do something.
Yeah.
And I thought after almost 20 plus, almost 30 years of leading people, managing teams, I could become a coach. And I thought I just print cards and become a coach, they're done. And then somebody who I did know very well, actually, I'm always thankful. He's called Sam Watene.
Yeah.
Told me, you don't go do this thing of 2-3 weeks and you call yourself a coach.
Kienyeji style.
Kienyeji,
Yeah.
become certified.
Yeah.
And he told me, I'll tell you where to go. And we met at a cocktail where I was invited to a second board of a bank,
Yeah.
a Nigerian bank, GT Bank. And so now I had, a couple of boards, and he told me, go get your certifications professionally. International certification. So he told me to go to CDI Africa, which I loved. It's run by a lady called Aileen, who's really the first master coach for many years in Africa. You've want to know
we
how.
worked with her.
Yeah, you've worked with that. Wonderful. And she really, I did the executive coaching, certified executive leadership coaching, expensive, but well worth it. And she allows you to pay in bits. Many of these certifications, we do it bit by bit. They're expensive. And honestly, I'm so glad I took Sam's advice, because I really got to understand how to do it professionally. It's not something you just go talk to people. There's a method to it. There's a model to it. And I found that I enjoyed it. I love helping people. I love serving people. And
you finally found your gig.
No, I found, that's what found my gig, and we used to do it, and we're a small room, we're about 10 of us, very illustrious people, well-known lawyers, really high-level, highbrow people, and a couple of young people.
Yeah.
And those friendships we made, even today, we have it. So that was my journey to coaching, became a certified coach, and I've never looked back. I've just now received more certifications. I went for emotional intelligence. Last year, I did this 5 behaviors of teams. In fact, of effective teams, a Wiley product with Vicky Karuga's company called Profiles International. So I just keep on adding to my certifications, and I love it.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll come to personal branding, which is another passion of yours, being a LinkedIn branding specialist, strategist. I think it's important for us to know what our strengths are.
Yeah.
Because you're still in entrepreneurship, but you're not selling products and goods. You're selling a service. So I think it's good to know, okay, I can get into business, run my own business, but I can't do this. I can do this. So speak to that and personal branding as you continue.
Let me tell you, that's what I thought for a long time. But recently, not recently, a couple, 3 years ago, I learned something that made me feel very ashamed, because I wanna get enough income. I don't want to be mega rich, but I want to be comfortable enough that if I say I'm going to sleep today or go to Malindi, I can go and things
the wheels will
run.
keep running.
So what I learned about, there's this company called Dent. They teach about the five principles of influential or successful leaders. And they talk about profile. They talk about pitching. What's your profile? That's why I talk about LinkedIn, having a brand. Who are you? Pitch. Who are you? People say, what do you do? What do you say? That's why I know that I bring clarity to big ideas. And they talked about promotion. They talked about publishing. You must write, have a book, have an article, have a blog. They talk about partnering, partner with the big brands. That's why you see people say, oh, I work with Microsoft. My clients include Barclays or ABSA, Corporate Bank, IHRM, I always tell people I'm talking to IHRM. It builds your brand. So you need to brand with people who lift your boat. And because your brand kind of shines off them. But the one that really, I feel like crying, the one that really makes me feel terrible, they said you must productize, have products. Because they said selling your time for money is self-sabotage.
It's risky.
I felt like dying. What do you mean selling my time? Giving services like I do is self-sabotage.
Being the product.
Yeah, being the product. Exactly, you got it. Because how much can you charge 1 hour? You can't charge $1 million.
Yeah, true.
So create products so that when you're asleep, like Bill Gates and Amazon,
the products are earning.
They're earning at night. So that has really, I tell many people, I meet my clients, create products. So from last year, I started now wanting to create products. So in conjunction with Profiles Academy, I actually launched my first product last year.
Wow. What is that?
It's a digital course.
Okay.
And digital is the way to go. Training. Again, you see this teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So we built a product.
Yes.
It's an online product. You go, you register, because really it's a 300 and supposed to be about 250 billion market.
Wow.
In the next 3 years, and that was about 2 years ago, they say by 2030 it's going to be probably 350 to 400 billion dollar market. Look at Africa. Huge, the wave is there.
Mm-hmm. And we don't have local content.
We don't have local content. So that's what Vicky is building. So I said, I must hook on this train.
Mm.
So I have a digital product executive repositioning program,
Mm-hmm.
particularly aimed at women, I say above 40, though I like 45 plus,
Okay.
who want to reposition themselves to a newer level, higher level of leadership. They
Mm.
want to have financial independence. They want to have impact, and they want to have legacy.
Mm.
So it is digital, you do it yourself, but I do have live sessions.
Mm-hmm.
My goal now is to create more products on that platform, particularly those that will not need me to go on live. Then I
Stop
really feel
learning.
now I'm an entrepreneur. Then you
Yeah.
call me an entrepreneur.
I liked what you said about repositioning.
Mhm.
You have said you were in the 60s and born in the 60s and all that. The workplace has really transformed. And HR professionals have to also reposition. How best can one do that? And what are you seeing in the market? What has changed compared to the past? What should professionals really be looking at to reposition themselves and remain relevant?
Yeah. I think for me, I graduated in late 70s, started working at the very beginning of 80s.
Yeah.
And you can really see how, because I serve on several boards, I've continued to serve on boards when I left UNEP.
Yeah.
And you can see that in the older days when I was at work,
Yeah.
it was a very formal place. We had the way we dressed, we had the way we talked, we had lifts for special,
Yeah.
particular people.
VIPs.
VIPs, though there's some organizations still today have all that. And even the language you called people sir, it was a
Yeah.
very formal. It's become much more
Informal. Yeah.
Also the leadership, it was very authoritarian. The leader knew everything. You listen to dear leader. Now people value competency.
Mm-hmm.
The leader is actually to harness
Bring
the
everybody
energy
together.
and motivate, not to know everything. And there's still some older leaders who think they need to know everything and they stress themselves and work too long. So promotions were based on how many years of service you have.
Right.
You don't, I've been here for a long time.
Yeah.
I know the
longest serving award. There's
Now,
nothing wrong with it, but
we used to have long service awards,
Yes.
30 years, 25 years with a lot of lunches. They've disappeared.
Yes.
But now it's really about a leader who can inspire people, a leader who cares about people. And it's really about, I like the way they keep changing HR, human resources, then it's people capital.
People, happiness, officer.
Happiness,
Yes.
I don't know what. But it's about, are you interested in the people? Do you care about them? Because it's about inspiring the people, motivate. And once they know you care, they will work for you.
Exactly.
So how do you socially influence them to give you their heart? And before we used to be told, you leave your personality at home. We don't want to hear your problems and whatever.
You leave your problems at the gate. Yes.
Now people are forming friendships.
Yeah.
People are even getting married. Nowadays we're not allowed to marry, to have relationships. Now
At
people,
workplace.
you'll be reported to HR or personnel those days and you go home. So it's become a much more relaxed place, and it's about the person and the humanity of the person, which I think is a huge challenge for the older people. But for HR, I think for me, it says that HR is the heart of a company, but it's not yet recognized. There's something, I don't know if I can share with you with that, what's his name? Julius Kimnetich said, which was amazing. We were at one of the, it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It was International Coaching Week, and we invited him to be one of the speakers at Strathmore. And what he said is that in the old days, if you imagine the Industrial Revolution, the people who rose to be CEOs were engineers. Why? Because the engine was what brought Industrial Revolution, the machine, the steam engine, the train, the ship. So engineers were highly valued.
Yeah, that was a competency that was critical.
That was the competence. So they rose up.
Yeah.
And then after those 1800s, 1920 and so on,
Yeah.
what then became more useful because you could now outsource engineering. There were factories. You didn't have to have engineering in-house. What became important was finance.
Yeah.
Getting the money.
The money is now coming. We need to manage it
Yeah,
and
how
deal
do you
with it.
manage money? How do you get loans? How do you do this? How do you leverage whatever? So finance people became
the critical ones.
the critical ones. So
Yeah.
in the 40s, 50s, it was about finance people, CFOs. They became the natural way to go to leadership.
Yeah.
And then all these venture capitalists came in, venture funding, I don't know, equity, whatever. You
can take care of itself
Yeah,
now.
go to the bank. You don't need a finance person.
Yeah.
They became just a bean counters. It was marketing, 60s, 70s, 80s,
visibility,
advertising, branding, because you have the money, you have the production, but how do you get the customers?
And the competition is there now.
Yeah. So it became about customer service. So advertising, marketing, those became the people natural way to go into leadership.
Yeah.
The era of campaigns, marketing, advertising campaigns.
Yeah.
And what he said is that where we are now, everybody now can get a computer. I don't need somebody to brand me. I Google.
And AI, you can design your own marketing material.
Design everything, social media. There's no media control, advertising, everything now. Anybody can do anything.
True.
Now it's about people.
Please say that loudly.
It's about people.
Yes.
People.
Yes.
And he said, he forecast the next CEOs in this new era will be HR. And I was so pleased to see KCB appoint an
Paul
HR
Russo.
person.
Yes.
Paul Russo.
Yes.
Also an emotional intelligence person. And we're going to see this more and more. So the future belongs to HR. They've always been at the heart of the company, but they're not given the due place. And also, I think they're bullied a little bit and they don't know how to stand up for themselves because they serve people. And I think that's where we're going. So
How do we change that? How do we change that? Build these skills that they need, HR professionals need to run businesses. Because, like you said, the universe has conspired. It's the time for HR.
No,
it's about people.
Yeah.
So how do I position myself as a HR to make sure I'm ready for that position? And I'll not just take it because it's time for people. I'll drive and actually have impact.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I've thought about that. And I think one of the foundation, and I'm now thinking again on the spot here, because I'd thought about this. I think the foundation of people is HR must be taught leadership first. Because if you're going to be advising people on how to manage people, you're the first person who should know about people. So, and I believe I'm not a trained HR people, but I think things like emotional intelligence now should be a basic.
A must-have.
A must-have.
Yeah.
How to lead people, how to manage people. Because HR has always been managing people. It's the only function that cuts across every single unit and department. There's some people not touched by finance, some people not touched by this, but HR cut across.
From the CEO.
From the CEO, and you're leading from behind. And there's this definition. I coach for this. I'm a trainer, facilitator, coach for an international aid agencies. And though I've been on the Female Future doing the leadership module for over 10 years, just over 10 years.
Yeah.
And we have different definitions. I love the way they have the Norwegian program, which we do with FKE.
Yeah.
I found this definition fantastic. In this course, which I've been doing now for the last 3 years, they say leadership is a process of social influence to maximize the efforts of others towards a goal.
Okay. I had social influence. I had maximize efforts of others.
Not yours.
Yeah.
To achieve
a goal.
And he thought, I love that, because how do you socially influence people?
And I think HRs know how to handle the social part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're an influencer. You're doing it socially through relationship building, trust building, networking. And I think that's, if you take that definition, it's a social process. That's what we should teach HR. It's not just a function.
Yeah.
You're socially influencing people and motivating them
to achieve the goal,
maximizing their efforts to achieve a goal.
Yeah.
And really convince their business partners that people don't belong to HR, which is such a misconception.
Yeah, they belong to the line
They belong to
managers.
HR.
Yes.
It's going, oh, HR told me, oh, go and see HR. And that acceptance and that knowing that there's that leadership, which requires courage, because the only thing about leadership is you have to have courage. How do we build that courage in HR professionals where they do see themselves? That to me is a challenge. I don't know how we do it, but to me, that's a challenge.
We hope that some of these conversations will help them to see that you can start a business, fail at it, reposition, start another one, and keep going.
Always.
And remain relevant. That's the other thing.
Absolutely. Keep on re-engineering yourself. I've been an oil guru, apparently oil expert.
And oil is a very closed space.
Close squad, space.
It's not something you just hear somebody say, oh, you've been a TV host.
Oh, I used to be a co-host. I replaced Zain Veggie on KTN with Catherine Openda. We used to do Third Opinion, you know?
You enjoy adventure, eh?
Yeah. I've been board member. I have been with big offices. Now I don't have an office at all. I'm online.
Yeah.
So it's how do you navigate and move? There's a time I felt I couldn't be Mary Mukendia without an office and a secretary. It took a lot to say, actually, you don't need an office. I just felt I need to have, I haven't had a car for over eight years.
What?
Yeah, I don't have a car. It's a liability, it's not an asset. It spends money.
Mary, you're interesting.
No, I swear, I use taxis to car. I move around it. When Uber H came.
The worst part about having a car is looking for parking.
Parking. Uber, and now I live in Nyanyuki, so maybe now I need an old jalopy. But you know, these
to
are
go to the market and stuff like that.
But no, we have a motorbike. I have a caretaker who got a license, I insured. So he goes with a motorbike. He's got a big thing at the back.
Buys whatever you need.
My cousin sold me the bike. He's a US citizen, but he came back and he's always been coming back. He had this big bite. He bought another one.
Okay.
So I have a caretaker who drives. You don't need possessions. I wear white all the time. Why? You don't need possessions. They weigh you down.
Yeah. It's
simplicity.
True. It's true. When did you get that realization to just shed off some of this weight?
With time.
Yeah.
With time. I used to go manicure every Saturday, you know, those
to
colors to keep up my weave, my whatever. But through time, you know, it comes through time.
Yeah. What
First, you don't have money.
Okay, yeah.
You don't
Through that.
No, for sure. You know, people think, oh, because you have this name, you get broke. It's expensive.
Very expensive.
Maintaining a car is expensive. It breaks down. I don't like driving. You have to have a driver. So with time, you realize what is important. And I guess also with age. I always love telling my age. But anyway, I'm on the 6th floor.
You look nice. You look great, actually. Nice is an
67,
understatement.
going
Nice. That's how I want to look like when I'm 67.
Going strong.
Now let's go back. You did stay long in positions that you took. You'd say 4 years, 5 years. That's a very now problem. What was that? And
honestly, I wish I hadn't. Honestly, I think you see, in the old days, the way we were taught and the way we saw life, my father worked with railways all his life. Everybody, we knew stability. Stability was very important. You know, we're talking about before and now. In fact, your CV, if you had jumped from jobs 3-4 years, people say, because those days we thought going up, it was a ladder, you know, like a staircase, step by step. That's the longevity, experience. Now it's about technical competence. It's about expertise. It's about diversity. Can you work with diverse industries, diverse people? And now it's like a jungle gym.
Exactly.
So you can
it's
go
actually
in,
how quickly can you move?
Yes, and you go lateral. Sometimes to move up, you go lateral. You know, jungle gym, you go this way, or you go down one.
Before you find
before
your
you
way
go,
up.
You jump 3 runs, and that's what gives people the versatility. And now it's no longer about how old you are; it's about what skills do you have. And that's why I say for HR managers, certify in emotional intelligence, go get something completely different. You know, maybe get legal. Become, you know, just learning
value
about
addition.
value addition of clerkship. You don't need to do the degree in law, but you know, the legal clerk courses to understand the fundamentals of law and what's required. It's those little skills of finance, some part of part 1 or 2, so that you can do your data analytics. Because one of the things I find that HR managers lack or don't like is numbers. But now it's about data analytics. Go learn data science. There's so many courses free on Coursera, particularly now in the AI stage. I'm the mother of AI. I love it. I cannot move without ChatGPT. It's on my phone. All my text, I think through AI. I draft the text, I say rephrase. I do an email, rephrase for me. creating courses, everything. Most people know me. None of my clients leave me without learning at least 2, 3 AI. Copilot, love it. Images, love it.
I think that's why you're always in the change aspect of an organization. You embrace change so easily.
I love it.
How is that? Is that an upbringing thing? Is that something you've learned over time? Is it your personality?
I think it could be personality.
Yeah.
I'm the type who has 30 tabs, 24 tabs on my computer.
Running at the same time.
Yeah, I get into rabbit holes. You know, I can start reading something. Oh, it looks nice. And I go, then I forget, why was I coming here in the first place? Not very good, but I just love new things.
Yeah.
Understanding. Now I'm trying to learn CapCut so I can see if I can do my own, videos and do whatever. So I started one and then I got lost because my daughter is a social media person. So I say,
You're an interesting person.
Yeah,
your children must enjoy having your company because surely you don't need help with the whole connect this to the phone.
But some of them, like my son, honestly, he's the one who got me into YouTube and all that stuff. And also getting bored at the UN when I was going towards the end, when tasks started being removed from me. I started going, you're bored, how to download video, how to do things. But my son, you know how children are. You've got adult children. So I'd ask them, come and do this for me. Oh, my phone. Mom, just Google it. Go on YouTube. There's a YouTube. Everything. If he does it for me, he goes. So I tell him, show me how you do it. Says, you go learn it on YouTube. So I've learned everything. Google, there's a YouTube. Anything, there's a YouTube for it. So I watch YouTube, so how to do this. The other day I was looking for the degree key. I go to YouTube. It's here. Then I find it.
You're an interesting person. I think you're the definition of lifelong learning, which is something that we now need to embrace. Now, you've talked about your adult children, and I can imagine you're running these businesses locally and internationally. You have children to raise, you have a home to manage, and you have worked with women. You mentioned the female future. How has the landscape changed for women in leadership and in business? And how did you manage as well to raise children and do all these things?
I think the landscape has changed a lot. When I joined ESO, I was the first woman kind of officer because the people they had were in the computer room. The days of a big room like this with
the big computer
with and air conditioning. We're not supposed to bring food and all that. So so I was always the first officer, the first analyst, the first department head, the first sales rep. It's really changed. And women are fantastic. Actually, for me, I'm biased. They make better managers because the people angle. They always look at the people angle. How are you? How are you feeling? And it's that care, that vulnerability to say, I don't have the answers. Let's work it together. Makes them very good managers. So we've seen a lot of women rise. But the issue for women, I find, particularly because of the Female Future Program, I started to see, we talked about the 3 C's. We talk about competency, courage, and confidence. Women have the competency. In fact, they're better educated. I guess it's almost like the issue of diversity. Black people feel you have to prove it more, particularly in places like America. Whoever is the underdog, twice as good. So women are actually they have the best degrees. Like now, if you see what's happening in universities, more women are registering, more women go for leadership courses, extra courses all the time. The issue of confidence and courage. Those are the two that bring us down. And what I've noticed is that we second guess ourselves a lot. We have this imposter syndrome. It is true. Even I, you invite me for this podcast and I say, okay, what am I going to say? Do I have it? Will I say the wrong thing? Why did they invite me?
What am I going to wear?
What am I going to wear? Luckily, I wear white, so I'm okay all the time. But, we tend to second guess ourselves. And because we also have so many responsibilities, we're also the homemakers. No matter how many staff you have, the home responsibility. So you're doing double duty.
You have children and you have to take almost a year's break.
So what will be eaten today? What will be shopped today? What the staff will do is still in your head. Is the baby who's taking them to hospital? I don't know, the dentist. You can't do it. You're supposed to be in a board meeting. You think about the dentist visit. Who'll take the kid to the dentist? Who'll explain to the doctor? You can't have your staff and whatever. And the shopping for the food. So that responsibility is an extra weight. The relatives All the family functions, wedding,
And this is Africa.
Irasio, is in your head. The man is not going to go. Cards for
Yeah,
birthdays.
yeah.
So literally we have probably 3 jobs. The homemaker, the relative supporter, and our career.
And a job, a day job.
School consultation, school, teacher,
Yeah.
parent consultations, sports day, who will go? It's a heavy load.
Yeah.
So what happens, you see women coming through the pipeline, but they start to drop off.
When we get to the top.
Yeah, because they've got all these multi roles. And I think for me is, and I think is what Shirley Sandberg talked about in her Lean TED Talk.
Yeah.
Honestly, making your partner a partner, but for me it goes beyond that, because we're lucky we live in Africa. Get people around you who become real partners.
Yeah, a support system.
Supports, exactly. I have somebody who I possibly couldn't live with, or if I didn't live with, I'd ask her to train somebody else. My house manager, because that's what I call her. I've had her for 18 years. She's called Lucy. Everybody knows in my house. If you want something done,
She
just
actually
ask Lucy.
tells you what needs to be done in your own house. Literally.
Menu, cooking,
Yeah.
sorting out everybody. She does it. She's fantastic. And she's very educated. She's very good. But I pay them well. I had a driver, Michael. I left him at National Oil. I moved with him from Meso, from Petroleum Institute. He's the one who picked me from hospital with my 2 babies each time. 4 years apart. He's the one carrying the basket. There's no demand coming. They're also busy. Incredible. Pay them well.
Yeah.
So you need that support system. My mother, you travel, you're flying, or sister. So having a support system, and that's where as women together, we can form even the network, the professional network.
Support
we
each
can
other.
do it each other.
Yeah.
And that's what this female future has also been.
Okay.
So to me, that's what.
Let me throw a spanner to the works. The boy child is struggling. I was in a meeting where someone who does recruitment says if they advertise for a job, more than 80% of the applicants are women. That is also not good. At least women are getting there. So what do we do with the boy child? Because who are we raising these daughters? I have one. What are we going to do about it?
I have one too.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I think there's so much to fix. I can tell you what I think it is, because the father has been absent from the home. So who does the boy child model? The way the African society used to be, there was a thingira for the man, or every of the communities had
uncles and
uncles.
Stuff, yeah.
The boys would sit with the men, the little boys go ahead. So there was a role. But when we went into a modernized Western society, the man almost lost his role because women started working, and you know how it is for them. And also when you have a home, the woman takes over the whole house. The sitting room is full of relatives, children, TV, people gyrating on TV. So there's no place
for the man.
So he goes to the bar. Honestly, it's a societal thing. We have to rethink back. How do we bring the man back as a head and the center of the household, alongside the woman, but giving the general direction? Because that's what I believe biblically we're told. And I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It's a huge issue.
We need another session for that.
We need another session. I don't know what the issue is.
Right, as we bring this to a close, you have talked of emotional intelligence and coaching. What exactly is that? Just briefly, so that when you're saying somebody needs to go and build their leadership skills, emotional intelligence is one of them. What solutions are there, and what is it?
Let's start with coaching, which I think everybody needs, because even we as coaches get. Coaching is having someone with you to help you think through what you want. Coaches don't tell you what to do, but using the GROW model, which is what's your goal, what's the reality, what are the options, can also be obstacles, and then the way forward is we let people, we believe in coaching that everybody has the solutions for everything in themselves. Everybody hates advice, but we love giving advice. There's this wonderful TED Talk called The Advice Monster. People should watch it. Honestly, you give advice to people, they don't want it. They may tell you your problem, but they actually just want you to listen to them and be heard.
As they digest whatever it is they're thinking. Yeah.
So coaching believes that everybody inherently has a solution. So what you do is you support them, you help through powerful questioning and really actively listening to them. You help them think through something. And because you're a partner, you're also holding them accountable. and responsible for what they say they'll do. So then you have somebody working with you. I say, oh, I
yeah.
want to be rich. I want to do this course. I want to do. So somebody's working with you every so often, for 3 months,
Yeah.
whatever, 6 months, until you reach your goal. And that's the issue. You can go to YouTube and learn everything today. You can even get a degree online. The problem is, why don't we all do it?
Yeah.
We have nobody to be our support, our guide, our accountability partner,
Yeah.
our encourager, somebody in our corner. So
And
that's
even after
really,
you have it, what do you do with it?
so that's what coaching is. That's why you see more and more people getting into
Yeah.
coaching,
Yeah.
because particularly in leadership, you're always looking after other people's problems and you don't think about you. What do you want? What's your goal? So that's what we do. In emotional intelligence, we actually say, and maybe people really, particularly men, misunderstand the word emotional.
Yeah. We think it's crying.
It's crying. I'm talking about where you feel nothing. Human
Yeah.
beings
Are inherently emotional.
exactly. They're
Yeah.
inherently emotional, and we do think based on our feelings, which then lead to our behavior and lead to the outcome. And emotional intelligence is actually knowing that the way I show up determines how other people feel. And the way other people feel determines how much they will engage with you. And that determines everything about
else.
that relationship.
Yeah.
And if leadership is about social influence, then when I show up looking happy,
Yeah.
calm,
Yeah.
nice, allowing you to feel safe, like this interview, if I came here annoyed, you did this to me,
Yeah.
they react and they shut back. So it is really understanding that you control
The response that
the
you
response,
get. Yeah.
and that you should show up always in a way that will encourage other people to give you their maximum. It's hard.
It is.
I mean, sometimes I lose my time, I get annoyed, but you keep learning and keep learning. And that's really what emotional intelligence is. And it's a basic leadership competency, but it can be taught. Not everything, people say, oh, leadership, you have to be a leader born or not. No, some people are better at it, but
than
actually,
others.
than others, but it actually can be taught.
I'm also a Geno certified emotional intelligence coach.
So I hope I
And
got the explanation right.
you did.
Thank you.
And I can tell you, beyond supporting other people, what it does for you as a person. And I think I get why you don't own a car, why you're wearing white. As in, you get to a point you're like, you know what? In the scheme of things, what is important? This is important. This I don't need. It just gives you a lot of clarity.
It does.
Which I think we all need.
We need,
In this world that is full of so many challenges, we need a lot of clarity.
Exactly. And it gets you to understand your ego gets in your way of
to manage yourself.
And help others. And then as soon as we let go of the ego, we're still there a little bit, we become better human beings. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mary. I have picked quite a number of lessons. My most exciting one is the lifelong learning, just being open to change and to trying new things. I like that you have also let go of a lot of baggage. I think that's how to go through this life.
Yes.
Yeah. And also the self-awareness that this is who I am. There's nothing wrong with who I am, but I can show up in a better way every day, which I think we need to embrace. And for HR professionals as well, we need to build these skills and just support our teams to achieve the goals in our social setting. So just as we wind up, parting shots to HR professionals and leaders who are watching us.
I think for me always is just give grace to yourself. I see a lot of people putting a lot of demand. Even I used to demand on yourself. Just give yourself grace. Be kind to yourself. Take time for your well-being, and everything is in progress. Nobody is perfect. I'm not.
True.
2 minutes ago, I was unhappy. I was angry. Then I get better. Then I say, you know what? Is it helping me? So it's just understanding that everything's a progress. Even if you're 100 years old, there's something you are going to learn. Nobody is an expert. And just that self-awareness to know we are all doing our best. And recognize you have so much potential in yourself, whoever you are, wherever you're going. And just be intentional and focused to doing something. That to me would be it. Because I'm still a work in progress.
Yeah, you are. You are. So extending grace to yourself and to others. All right. Thank you, Mary, so much for making the time. You didn't tell us about the MBS.
Oh, Moran of the Burning Spear.
Yes, please.
From National Oil service to the state. I love it.
It's good to be honored as well. And
Thank
it's
you.
also good to know when to receive the honor. Sometimes we want to be overly modest.
Yeah,
So
I never used to,
congratulations on that.
thank you. I never used to put it. And then one day I said, yeah,
I earned
I
it.
earned it.
Yes.
I have, people who are doctors, they don't put doctor. I said, hey, if I was a doctor, the whole world would know. Put it, you earned it, you worked for it. Thank you for that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mary, for making the time for us. We have enjoyed the conversation and we trust that it's going to be helpful and impactful for members and for HR professionals, for leaders, for anybody really, even for the younger ones who are in school and are hoping to get into the profession. Thank you so much for your time. That has been Mary Mukindia, an executive coach, an emotional intelligence expert, speaking to us about her journey and just sharing some thoughts, which we hope will challenge you, will motivate you, and encourage you even in your journeys. Thank you for watching Rippled by IHRM. In case you missed our other conversations, and even to catch up with this conversation, follow us on our social media platforms at IHRM Kenya across all platforms. I have been your host, Ihrm Kimashia.